It's pleasure for us. Thank
Okay.
you.
Now I start back.
Yeah.
I think you can see the presentation on my screen again. Everything is okay?
It is okay, thank you.
Okay. Once more, I would like to thank you, dear teachers, to accept me here as your education expert in your eTwinning project. And welcome, dear students, as well, again. My name is Pelin Gökçek Adıyaman, and I'm a professional tourist guide. So let me introduce myself again. I'm 45 years old. I am licensed tourist guide. I am a Turkish citizen, and I live in Turkey in a town, Burhaniye. That's a small town, province of the city Balıkesir. Burhaniye is in the west coast of Turkey, somewhere around here. You can see my cursor. It has a population of 65,000 people. It is a touristic town, especially in the summers, because we have many sunny days and a beautiful sea in Burhaniye. So we host in summertime many tourists here. Today, the date is February 21st, and February 21st is the International Tourist Guide Day. So it's a very nice coincidence that I'm speaking as a tourist guide on February 21st in your project. But who is a tourist guide then? To be a tourist guide, what do we need? A tourist guide can be a man or a woman like me, but a tourist guide, first of all, has to have university education. Tourists guides study many fields: history, geography, archaeology, mythology, religions, geology, botanics, first aid, communications, and many more. And a tourist guide speaks one or more foreign languages, such as English, French, German. I speak, of course, Turkish as a Turkish citizen, as well as also English, Italian, and Finnish. A tourist guide reads many books to learn new things every day and update himself or herself. How do you recognize a tourist guide? A tourist guide has an ID card. He or she wears it on his collar, like this. A tourist guide usually wears comfortable sports shoes and sports clothes because we walk every day quite much. A tourist guide generally uses a backpack. Here's my lovely backpack with lots of cats. And in summertime, a tourist guide has sunglasses. I prefer colorful sunglasses and a hat to protect himself or herself from the sun. A tourist guide uses a flag or a stick or a colorful umbrella like this, pink and flowers, to show tourists the way in crowded places. A tourist guide has a microphone, speakers, or headset. I have a headset here, but much smaller. We use much smaller so that tourists can hear the tourist guide better in crowded places. And of course, a tourist guide always has lots of people around him or her. But what does a tourist guide do? Have a look at the daily life of a tourist guide. A tourist guide meets with tourists in their hotels or in meeting places. Then the tourist guide takes tourists to many different places: ancient cities, palaces, mosques, churches, castles, old houses, monuments, and of course, museums. And the tourist's guide tells the history and stories of all these places to tourists. The tourists ask questions to tourist guide about these places, and the tourist guide answers their questions. A tourist guide introduces his or her country to tourists. And at the end of the tour, a tourist guide generally takes tourists back to their hotels. So I want to show you some pictures of our tours as tourist guide. Here you can see we are with a group, and then in this picture we have our guide telling us the properties of the place we visit. This is another picture. You can see the guide. And if possible, I want to show you a video of a daily tour. Let me know if you can watch it. Everything is okay, right? This is a daily tour in Bodrum. So here is the tourist guide. She tells the stories. This is Bodrum Castle and the underground archaeology museum there. See the tourist guide in front. So this is a museum. This is a visit to a museum. And we also have fun with a beautiful view of Bodrum.
Pelin, you must see the voices. Everybody says, here.
I especially chose Bodrum. So that's an example of what we do in daily tours. And of course, museums, because your project is children in museums. Museums are very important for tourists guides. Also, what do you see in museums? What we can see when we visit museums? We see collections. We see old tools, such as this one here in the picture. We see old furniture, old clothes, statues. This is a statue of a deer, and this is also a statue. You can see it. Oh, we can see mosaics, graves, and much more in museums. There are lots of museums in the world. Some examples are like the British Museum in England, Louvre Museum in France, Pergamon Museum in Germany, Warsaw Rising Museum in Poland here, Guggenheim Museum in Spain, Metropolitan Museum of Art in the United States of America, and here Anatolian Civilians Museum in Ankara, Turkey. This is one of my favorite museums. And also there are many more museums that I cannot list here. What can we do in museums? We can, of course, visit the museums, and we can see collections in museums. We can listen to information in museums. We can take photos there, but in some museums, we cannot take photos, so we need to be careful. We can also study and do homework in museums. We can even have a lesson in museums. So museums are great places for tourists, guides, and also for students. That was my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Pelin.
You're welcome.
I am here and there. Thank you, everyone, for your participations.
It was so nice to be with you and to see you. Thank you once more.
Happy Tourist Guides Day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. See you. Goodbye.
See
Thank you
you.
so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Daisy. Happy doing this that guide day.
Hepsi
Thank
söylüyor.
Gracias.